Hello and welcome back to the Angry Day podcast. This is episode 68. It is a year in review of the advice that my guests would have given their 18-year-old version of themselves. This is a particularly important episode to me at my point in my life as someone who is trying to give their 17, soon to be 18-year-old son, who is going to be heading out into the world, some advice. And sometimes all the advice you can give to your kids isn't really heard because it's coming from you. So maybe someday he'll take a listen to this and hear it from other people. Or maybe there's another kid out there that's 18, 20, 25 years old that might want to hear from us. So I'm going to start out with my buddy Omar from episode 25, along with my uncle Bill, Uncle Headbutts from episode 2. And I think you'll hear what they're talking about is that there are more important things in the world than just money or what the media or society tells you that is important. So listen in.
Hindsight being 2020, when you look back, doing things that make you happy are way more important than doing things that make you financially secure. You know, let me not say financially secure, but being happy is more important than making money.
Yeah.
You want to be secure. You want to, you know what I mean? Money is a resource, you know what I'm saying? We all need it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. It's not everything, though.
It's not everything. And if you're spending 20, 25 years doing something that makes you money, but you're not doing things that make you happy, you know, So I did a lot of that when I moved to DC. You know what I'm saying? And I went back to school rather, because I wanted my mother to see me walk across that stage and get a degree, because that's what I was quote unquote supposed to do. Supposed is a very strong word.
Yeah.
And think about it though. At 46 years old, bro, I am cutting hair and playing music, and I'm having the time of my life.
Amen. That's all that matters, man.
Imagine if I would have done it right out of high school.
Yeah, I hear you.
But that's hindsight being 2020. So
I have so many regrets in that way about even in high school. You know, like I always wanted to be in a play, and I'm sure I would have been good at it. I really believe that, but I was so afraid of not being cool. That
man,
that thing. And you know, listen, I went to law school and became a lawyer because nobody thought I could do it.
Right.
That was it.
The motivation for why people do what they do is very interesting. I think everything has a balance to it. You know what I mean? That's what nature tells us. You have day and night, left and right, up and down. You know what I'm saying? Every action has an opposite and equal reaction or whatever.
Right.
This is why I talk to your children.
Yeah.
And listen, I know to myself I sound like a broken record because I'm saying the same things all the time. And it stems from the fact that when I was younger, I didn't have anybody kind of make me realize things. You get the stereotypical, typical, do this, do that, get a job, work 20 years, get your gold watch, retire type.
Yeah. Why? Because I said so.
Because I said so.
Yeah.
It was never getting you to understand we are intelligent beings who need to be fed the proper information. And I'm not going to sit here and boo-hoo and just regret it. I'm just like, all right, well, I didn't get it, so let me have every opportunity I can, no matter how I feel or sound, to tell these other kids.
I wish I learned earlier on that the simple truths are what matter most. And I learned that as I got older, because it just goes back to when you're a kid, you understand things so much easier than once you're an adult, because society changes the way our perception is about almost everything. We know we're born with the understanding of what is good, what is evil, what feels good, what makes us sad. We understand these things. It's embedded in our DNA, if you want to be a scientist.
Yeah.
Maybe someday they'll find it, whatever. But they'll try to manipulate it. And that's what I'm getting at. The society is trying to manipulate us into being sheep.
Next up, I have 3 clips for you. One from episode 15 with Joey, episode 27 with Kate, and episode 43 with Carolyn, which I really think drill down on the idea that you need to live your life on your terms.
Yeah. I should have probably done more to live a life that I wanted and not necessarily the one that my folks wanted for me. I mean, I can't look, I'm not knocking them for it. Like I said, This isn't a pity parade, but I did what was expected of me.
Yeah.
And, I think I probably would have enjoyed myself more.
What advice would you give 18-year-old version of you looking back?
Don't be scared.
Talk to me more about that. Scared about what?
If you, in other words, at 18, say I wanted to do X, Y, and Z, but I always analyzed it, what my parents would think. Just do it. If that's what you feel in your heart, then just do it.
Was that a lot of it is perception of your parents? Are you worried about that? Or what was it that held you back?
Well,
was it fear of failure?
Not necessarily a fear of failure, because my mother always taught me no matter what, you're going to do whatever you need to do.
Right.
I think it was like for example, I wanted to go to Florida State.
Yeah.
They had a complete meltdown.
Right.
So I would just shut down after that. That's why I went to community.
Right.
But I feel like I should have done that.
Yeah.
Maybe not that I'm fine with the person I am today, but I don't know what would have went on.
Right.
But I felt like not disappoint them, but she was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? My mother doesn't drive.
Right.
So it wasn't even like if I went somewhere close, she would have seen me.
Yeah. You're going to be so far away. And
yes. It kind of broke my heart in a way. Not that I knew they weren't doing it to hold me back, but that sort of did hold me back.
Right.
But I still kind of have that certain things I won't do because I know it will affect someone in my inner circle.
Yeah. I hear you. I never had that problem. I always had the fear of failure problem. That was mine.
Well, see, me, I'm a people pleaser, so I want to make everybody else happy. And now I'm starting to learn that I need to be happy before everybody else needs to be happy, because I can't make you happy if I'm not happy.
How about some advice that you would have for the 18-year-old version of yourself?
Really just trust your gut. Yeah. It's going to feel so hard because a lot of people around you are going to have opinions. But and maybe, I don't know, maybe sometimes your head and your heart might be arguing with each other, but use your spidey senses, trust your intrinsic knowledge, because it's right. It's usually trying to tell you something.
Next up are clips from episode 7 with Laura and episode 47 with John D'Angelo. I think they're trying to tell you, stop being so scared. Take that risk.
If you could go back to tell 18-year-old Laura anything, what advice would you give her?
Be braver.
Expand on that.
Yeah, just do more stuff. Don't be afraid of failing. I think that's something that I've embraced, following the fear. If there's I do improv comedy, and there's Del Close, who's a famous improv coach, says, follow the fear. If it makes you uncomfortable, do it more. I think I've embraced that, especially in my career, because I am so confident in what I do and what I know. And I have the opportunity to mentor a lot of people and teach a lot of people. And one of the things I tell them is, you don't be afraid to mess up, because the worst thing that's going to happen is you get to teach other people how to not mess up. If you can set your ego aside and just repeatedly fail, you get to teach hundreds and thousands of, I've probably taught thousands of people now how to succeed at doing what it is that our team does. So I wish that I would have known that back then, that even in your biggest failure, you can succeed and teach others how to succeed.
If you could give yourself advice when you were 18 years old, what would that advice be?
Don't be afraid to take that risk, take that chance.
Yeah.
Hindsight's 20/20, and it's
Is there any risk in particular you can think of?
I think the one I might have alluded to earlier might have been my
Europe,
or my career.
Okay.
Taking that job going to Tulane, breaking away from what's comfortable.
Yeah.
You're not, I mean, that's kind of also the advice. It's like you're not going to get anywhere by staying the same.
Right.
You have to take those chances.
You have to take chances.
And if you don't, you could live a nice line, but you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to increase. You're not going to expand your horizons.
Gary Vee, I don't know if you know who that guy is. He's kind of like a motivational speaker. He owns an internet wine company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But he talks about that. And it's especially important to take those chances when you're young.
Yes.
When you can recover.
Absolutely.
Next up, I have 4 clips for you. One from episode 18 with Frank Genzano, episode 3 with Stevie Bananas, and episode 37 with Teresa, and episode 38 with Carl, all centering around the idea of being yourself. Listen in. Would you have any advice for 18-year-old version of you?
Yeah, be yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself, because you'll attract more. You'll attract more in the universe if you're just yourself, right? And be honest with yourself.
Yeah, that's tough, but yeah. But,
and if you can't be honest with yourself, find someone who's going to be honest with you.
We've had no trouble with that.
We've never had trouble with that. Well, at 18, I was trying so hard to impress other people that I literally fell flat on my face and failed. If you just go with the flow and just, do your best. It sounds kind of stupid. You say, stop trying so hard and do your best at the same time, but...
Yeah, I hear you. But worrying about what other people think and the perception doesn't help you, right?
That's correct.
Worrying about the reaction of other people is never... You can only control what you can control in your life and making that effort, right? So that's it.
Absolutely, yeah. And what other people think of you is none of your business.
$18, maybe a little younger.
Yeah.
Too, but just stop following.
Yeah.
Be you. It just stop wanting to be a part of the crowd and what other people perceive. Do it because you want to do it. Don't do it because
you think it's going to be cool.
You think it's going to be cool, or you think you're going to fit in. Be a little bit more independent, not so much of a follower.
Yeah.
Because I definitely was.
Don't put your faith in everybody. Don't believe everything they say to you. Wean yourself through the bullshit.
Yeah.
I had a problem with that.
About being too trusting?
Yes. I trusted everything my friends and colleagues would say to me.
So you would trust what they say. You would not look at the signs.
I wanted to see the good in everybody,
yeah.
And these are some of these people I've known for 10 years, 20 years. And, I put my faith in them and it totally fucked me.
Yeah. Right. Despite the fact that they probably showed you a million times that they were not trustworthy.
Oh yeah. But I was gullible. I was too good of a friend.
Yeah. What do you think that was? You just think it was the want to be, the want to have those people in your life, to have other people in your life and have that connection?
Yes, of course. And some of these people were very successful. Now I see how they had it going on because they were robbing and stealing from everybody they knew.
Yeah, but just having money doesn't make you moral.
It doesn't, and I've seen that.
Yeah.
Next up, I got 2 clips for you from episode 13 with Stevie Iraq and episode 24 with Slinka. They're telling you, don't stress so much. You'll get through it.
Well, when I was 19, I lost someone real close to me at the start of my college. And I want to tell that 18-year-old to say, you'll get through it. Don't stress it. Don't stress about everything. And that was hard for me to do.
Yeah.
It's still hard for me to do.
Yeah.
Is don't stress so much.
Yeah, everything's temporary.
Yes. And you'll find that you've wasted a lot of time worrying about things that you can't control.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell myself, definitely.
I spent a lot of my life caring about things that are just worthless.
Yeah, in the long run, they don't matter much.
Right.
What advice would you give you?
You'll get through it. Like, I think a lot of life is thinking that it's too much to deal with. There's always times where you think, this is tough. I'm going through a lot. This is going to be hard. And I think what people don't realize is there's nothing too hard that you can't overcome.
Yeah.
And time heals. And if you can get through the worst times of your life, there's good stuff right on the other side. You just have to get through it. You have to just, manage your way through it. Having dealt with a lot of like depression in my life and things like that, there was a time where I realized the light bulb kind of went off, where it was basically like, hey, you're in a bad spot. You're depressed. You'll get through it.
Yeah.
And you got to realize that, because if you never realize that, then how do you know that you will? You think this is it, man. I'm how do you know that you'll ever get better if you don't know that? I'm speaking in circles, but
yeah,
when you're in it and you're in a really bad place, the only thing, your world is that bad thing. Dark place.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that there's something on the other side of that's positive,
yeah,
you may not get through it.
I mean, that's the spiral, right? I mean, that's how people spiral.
Absolutely.
That's how they end up on drugs. That's how they end up hanging themselves.
Yep.
It's how they end up just caught in that same rut.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I've seen more in my experiences. Well, drugs, certainly. You know my history. I know suicide all too well. But the most people just get caught and they're in the same spot that they were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they can't get past whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
And that was my dad. My father's life was full of depression and just afraid of taking chances. Just afraid of taking chances. And for what? Like, what were you losing?
But you have to get to a point, developmentally.
Yeah.
And not everyone gets there.
They just don't get there. You're right.
Some people, how many times have you run into someone who's the same today as they were in high school?
Yeah.
And it's like, what a sad fucking life that is, man. Like, you haven't changed. How the fuck haven't you changed, man?
Next up are clips from Motown Mike and Little Deb, episodes 2 and 48, reminding you to slow down and enjoy the moment.
What advice would you give the 20-year-old Michael?
Plan ahead. Put some money away. Absolutely put some money away. And to live in the moment, to constantly don't look forward. I mentioned earlier I'd set those benchmarks and if and whens for myself to be happy. Don't do it. And I did a lot of living in the moment. I don't want to act like I sold myself short, like I didn't have a great time along the way. But enjoy every second as it comes, because they're all unique and you never get them back.
All right. What advice do you have for the 18-year-old version of you? If you can go back and give 18-year-old self some advice, what would it be?
Don't do certain things so quickly.
Slow down.
Slow down.
Like
when I was 16,
yeah,
I used to always say I'm not getting married till I'm 25, and I'm going to have a career, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I meet your father, and all that just went right out the window.
Yeah.
So I would tell myself to kind of
slow down.
Slow down.
Don't have a kid
at 19, and yeah.
And my final clips I have for you today are from RPG episode 40 and Brian in episode 21 that remind you to be kind to yourself and forgive yourself. Listen in.
Keep up your fitness.
Yeah.
And forgive yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's the big one. Take the working out and put that aside. Forgive yourself. It took me a long time to forgive myself about things.
Yeah, forgive yourself for not being perfect. I mean,
yeah.
None of us are, right?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Tell me about advice you would give 18-year-old version of you.
Be kind to yourself when you're 43.
Yeah. It's good advice.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like to journal. One of the things I'm doing now is I write a letter to my younger self.
Yeah.
I've got a photo in my closet at home. I got a picture of my daughter, my wife, my dog.
Yeah.
And I've got a picture of me at like 8. So I write a letter to him talking about, I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry I did this, but I did do these things. But then I also write a letter from him to me saying, you're all right.
You're all right.
So my advice to a younger me, if it's 18 me, be careful with yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be reckless, right?
Yeah.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
All right, that's all I have for you today. But before I go, I want to summarize what these guys have told you today. First, remember, you're 18 years old, you're 20 years old. You don't know shit. You know why I know that? Because I didn't know shit either. And these 17 people have reminded you and me that nobody knows anything when they're 18 years old. So take some advice from us. And always remember what's important. Your happiness is always going to be the most important thing. Keep it simple. Don't let the world and the media and popular culture make you forget that your happiness is always going to be what is most important. And to get to the happiness, you have to live your own life, not the life that somebody else prescribed for you or somebody else determined for you was going to be the way that you should go. It has to be your life, the one from your gut that you know is your truth. And don't be afraid to take chances along the way. You can't progress, you can't get to where you want to be unless you take some chances. And trust me, you will regret them if you don't take them. Especially be willing to take those chances when you're young, when you're 18, 20, 25 years old. Because my mother told you, there's plenty of time to get there, slow it down. And when you're slowing it down, make sure to smell the roses and take the time to take those moments in, because you don't get those moments back. And if you're rushing to get to that goal and you're only focused on that goal, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities to be happy along the way and to remember those happy times. And remember, there are going to be tough times along the way. You'll get through it. You'll get through it, weather the storm. You'll come out the other side and you'll be fine. You'll get through it. There's nothing too hard to overcome with the right perspective. Nothing. And don't forget, be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself. Nobody's perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. And those failures, when you take those chances, can turn out to be the greatest thing that ever happened to you. And it at least will give you perspective, and you will learn how to be the better person, the better employee, the better whatever. So again, listen up. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.